Right. I'm going to tell you more about the Охotsk Sea bowhead whales in the Wrangell Cove, and I would like to speak about scars and what they tell us about various threats, including anthropogenic dangers. You have seen this slide. Yeah, it shows the location of this area. And now I would like to focus on specific scars we can observe in bowhead whales and what we pay attention to when we analyze photographs. Right, so this is a typical thing, a typical photograph. Okay, so there's a lot of visual signs, and this might be significant in different ways. Okay, there are scars along the body. Okay, and in on its tail as well. Also, we see these scales of the skin. Yes, and this cannot be used for identifying specific threats or causes of these scars. There are also different stains on the skin, and they can be used for identification as specific animal. And this is widely used in a photo ID. But also, in addition to that, on the right, you see these different scratches, scars, and spots. And their etymology can be really different. The bowhead whales, they live in icy areas, and ice fields for them is not a barrier. So they can push the ice, if it is not very thick, then can breathe through a crack. And these scars on top of the animal, still we cannot be sure that ice was the main reason for this. So that is why we were looking at the tail of the animals, because we believe it is more illustrative. Have a look at the upper pictures. It is not quite clear. Maybe this one on the left. This might be a killer whale teeth. And on the right over there, I'm pointing to it. These are probably the sign of the killer whale. And this longer line, it is not quite clear. Maybe it was ice, maybe it was a killer whale. So I was speaking about the left one, and now the right top picture. Have a look. There are some scars, and most probably the killer whale left these scars, but these parallel lines, it's not quite clear. Maybe it was a killer whale, or maybe it was something else, some objects, when the whale rubbed against them. I'm speaking very carefully about it, and I'm going to explain it. Right, the picture at the bottom, you see that on the tail there are different signs and scars. There are stains, and this diagonal scar on the tail, this can be caused by both a killer whale, or it looks very much like entanglement. So this might be a sign of entanglement that was tied around the tail. As for killer whales scars, have a look on the left. You can see Yeah, so a killer whale is attacking an adult. Killer whale is attacking the whale, and on the right, yeah, you can see such scars. So this is typical. This is a scar from teeth of killer whales. It is interesting that killer whales that bowhead whales at Охотsk Sea, practically all whales, they have such scars, and the exception is just very few animals, and maybe we cannot just see those scars, because sometimes it's hard to say whether it is a scar or not. Sometimes white scars, if they are against white background, then you practically cannot identify them. As for other scars or signs, have a look at the top pictures. These scars and Sakhalin experience and other publications and materials we studied, they say that this is very similar to entanglement signs. So it is either some fishing gear or some debris in the water. On the left, top left, yeah, it's clear, yeah, that there are, tips of the tail. Yeah, they have been bitten by killer whales, but these whitish scars, this looks like entanglement. So this is anthropogenic. Currently, we continue this study. This analysis of the scars demonstrates that in over 96% of the animals in our catalog, they have killer whale scars, and about 38% of bowhead whales at Охотsk Sea have scars, and I'm trying to be very careful because we still continue it. So their scars are very similar to entanglement scars. We continue this work. We are analyzing video materials because we have a lot of it. And also we contacted several international experts on entanglement, and we requested them to analyze our photographs without giving any specifics to them, so that we can verify whether our conclusions were correct. I have finished. Thank you very much for your attention. Thank you. Are there any questions to the presenter? Yes, there's one question. There are two raised hands. Stanislav Belikov first. What about other populations of bowhead whales? Do you have similar statistics for other areas about killer whale scars? For example, in the White Sea. Yes, what is happening there? Yes, there's stats on different populations, and I'm referring to it in the report. Yeah, about 10% of whales in other areas, they have such scars, but in our case, it is almost 100%. Now, Vladimir Vertyankin. Once again, hello, everyone. Grigori, you showed a photograph, this zigzag, a zigzag. I doubt that this comes from killer whales. Killer whales, yeah, they usually bite on fins, and they are not like hippopotamuses. They cannot have this widely open mouth. It's like we cannot bite a watermelon. Yeah, it is big and round. So probably that zigzag was either from now whale, okay, it hit maybe this animal, or something else. And secondly, you showed photographs with multiple scars. This might be during molting. And you know, these whitish spots, they have a little bit of blue in them. This is like in gray whales. Yeah, these are signs of molting. You know, they rub against the rocks. Are you speaking about this? Yes. Yeah, but first of all, I would like to mention this zigzag scar. Yeah, I was trying to say that we don't know the cause of this. Yeah, probably. Yeah, it can be a killer whale sometimes. You know, the just one tooth, you know, leaves this sign. Sometimes it is ice. But here I'm showing not this white, this whitish area, but these clear-cut scars. So it's not clear what caused it. And these animals, they do not leave the Охотsk Sea. And there are genetic studies. So this is a localized Охотsk Sea population. So, okay, walruses can come here, but as for narwhal, you mentioned a narwhal. No, I doubt it. Right, maybe it is better to wait for the end of the molting season and then compare it. Yeah, compare, because gray whales, they have similar things. They're like bubbles, underskin bubbles under this old skin, and this changes. This changes the whole pattern. And then 2 or 3 weeks later, okay, so the skin is so different, and you know, the pattern is quite different, and it is easier to identify the whale. Thank you very much. Thank you. I was saying that, yes, we didn't study the ID signs on the body, yeah, but we mainly referred to the tail. This is what we focused on.
Yes, I think this is the entanglement. This is quite easy to find. There's another raised hand, please. Good afternoon, colleagues. Grigori, thank you very much. This was a highly interesting presentation. It is clear that you're at the very beginning of your way forward. Based on what we see, you have a lot of material, and we are looking forward to new publications because you're talking about something extremely important to us. Now, with regard to the number of killer whales, I think you need to also make comparisons with other species such as gray whales that are always close by. You may remember that there are there's some research on anthropogenic scars in gray whales and also on scars left by killer whales. As far as I understand, we're mostly talking about younger animals in this particular bay. In terms of the age distribution, I understand you cannot give us precise numbers, but adults, juveniles, 2 years, 1 year, do you have any kind of material in terms of the size and age distribution? Do you collect such material? Thank you very much. Thank you for your question. What I wanted to say is that it's really difficult to collect information on the age distribution. Let me just say that we personally have never seen calves and females with calves, but we heard that someone observed them once. It's difficult, of course, to say whether it was a calf or not. As to the size distribution, we can definitely see this on the pictures. We can have some pictures that show that they are of different size. We're trying to analyze our data right now, and we have some approaches to that, some indirect and maybe not very precise, but it would be possible to somehow estimate their length. And in the future, we're definitely going to try and get involved in the projects that would collect more size information. But for that, we need additional funding and additional equipment. We're trying to look for that. But thank you for your comment. Thank you for your comment on killer whales. We are not the only group that is working on that. And I know that Olga Spack also published on that topic. As to bowhead whales, I'd like to tell you personally, Alexander, a big personal thank you. In 1995, a long time ago, you were the one who inspired me to go to that particular area when you came to our university and gave a lecture. And after that, I got so interested in this work. Thank you very much, Grigori. Any other questions? Yes, I think there's another raised hand, please. Grigori, I think when the whales are calm, in order to determine their size, one should also just take a 4-meter plank, which is painted in white. You can just put it in the water, or maybe put it on anchor, and then calculate the scale. And then you can scale up to a centimeter. Thank you. Thank you. This was one of the options that we are considering right now. There are 2 difficulties here. Number one is that we really don't want to anchor anything in that particular area, because there have been cases when whales took some ropes with anchors, and there were no entanglement, but still they carried those ropes for a while. So we don't want to have any additional ropes that could entangle the animals. As to floating planks, floating wood signs, there are some micro currents, and it is quite possible that they will go into remote areas, because it would take some effort to go and look for it. I think it's a unique area. I don't think it makes sense to come in with the motorboat too much. And we tell all the tourists that if they enter the area, wait, don't make a sound, and the whales will come up to you. So in order to make pictures from high altitude, to make sure that we get the animals as well, it's a bit difficult. The thing is that I have tried that. We tried it from a higher altitude, but it's the kind of altitude that is very difficult to tell the species. Because in order to identify the species, you need to be closer. So it's a methodological issue. We're still considering it. And we will be happy to take advice and recommendations. May I jump in? I think we are moving on to a general discussion here. I understand